Former venture capitalist,
Yep.
founder of Pitch Black.
Yeah.
You are bringing together a community. I saw your TED Talk, and I actually watched it multiple times, and it's about financial retention in our community.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. Let's get, you have this background in financing. Tell me what motivates you, what gets you going, because being a former banker, I could tell something switched.
Yeah.
There was something that changed your trajectory, and now you're very focused on building community.
Yeah. So I'm a recovering VC. I'm an economist by training, and I'm the son of two entrepreneurs. So it was great to grow up and have two parents that started their own businesses. And I started my first business when I was in college, and I firmly believe that there's nothing better in life than coming up with an idea at your dinner table and then having complete strangers thousands of miles away take their hard-earned money and put that towards an idea you had.
Yeah, absolutely. And so coming from that business mind frame, I would say you are probably Portland's biggest supporter when it comes to small business. And Portland is no stranger to small business. We have a great small business community. Let's talk about that. What do you think makes it run? Why do we have so many people ambitiously pursuing their dreams?
So one of my friends, Rick Troisi, likes to say that entrepreneurs in Portland are aggressively humble. And I think we attract folks that are really driven by collaboration and purpose and community. And I think that's what's left over from the people that originally came in the Oregon Trail. Almost 200 years ago, they came to a point in the Oregon Trail in Idaho where if they wanted to get rich, they would go south to California. Mm-hmm. And if they wanted to build something and they cared about craft and they wanted to build a community, they would continue going west into building Oregon. And so I think that lives on today. We attract people that are entrepreneurs that want to build something great and want to do it with purpose and solve a problem, not necessarily get crazy rich.
Yeah. And so switching gears, talking about Pitch Black, something that developed in Portland. You've taken it national. Let's talk about that.
So 4 years ago now, talking with a friend of mine, and the census data had just come out that looks at the number of Black-owned businesses in the city of Portland. And at the time, coming out of 2012, they counted more than 4,000 Black entrepreneurs here in Portland. And I was just blown away. And at the time, I was working in venture capital, and I didn't like generally being the only person in the room. Meanwhile, I had an experience in working in banking here locally, where I got a chance to work with a number of Black and Latino founders. And so I knew they exist, and I knew they were separated from the existing mainstream ecosystem of entrepreneurship. And so I figured, Shark Tank was pretty popular at the time. Let's put together an event where we bring these folks together. And I thought it was something that would really only work in Portland. I got more than 40 cities reached out to me after we did the first year. We've worked with over 40 entrepreneurs in the city of Portland who've gone on to raise over $17 million for their ideas.
Dope!
And we've been able to go and do events in Seattle, Philadelphia, and this year we're going to be doing 6 more cities. And so going out to places like Oakland, Detroit, New York, DC, Atlanta, Charlotte, to go and work with other communities. So I'm super excited about it.
And that's incredibly exciting, and I could speak to it firsthand because I was on Pitch Black, and I was able to pitch my podcast. Some of you may know that Lost in Portland has not only had a clothing line, but a successful podcast, long-form interviews with Portland's creative community. But it wasn't until you told me to make a pitch that I'm like, what do I really want to pitch? What do I really want to do? It's great. I have this mentor that I work with now, and he asked me, Chris, what are we really doing? And that mentor is the person I actually met at Pitch Black. I'm now working directly with him, Bertoni Foston of Abbey Creek, who's in the back of the room. One of the dopest men in Portland.
Yes.
You put community together, and I think the combination of Bertoni and I is just a testament to that. Tell me about the drivers.
Yeah. So I think one of the things I realized working with entrepreneurs for the last 15 years is, money gets you only so far. And it's really social capital that makes the difference between you turning an idea into a business and something that grows and sustains over time versus money prolongs the inevitable. And so I saw far too many entrepreneurs, women, men, black, white, and otherwise failing. And it was just because they didn't have the social capital that they needed to get to that next level or ask themselves the question that they didn't even know to ask.
Yeah.
And the only way you're able to do that is when you have people like Bertoni in your corner who are able to say, well, Chris, you didn't even mention this. What about this?
Right.
And so if you have money, but you don't have those kind of advisors, you don't have that close circle, oftentimes it's a recipe for a disaster. And so Pitch Black is really around, captivating the people that are already in the community that want to see you be successful.
Right.
Right. And so many of us are toiling in the shadows and thinking we got to do it by ourselves. No one does it by themselves.
Right.
And so we captured that in Portland, and we're able to do it in other cities now as well. It's been awesome.
And I think you say, you're a recovering VC, a recovering venture capitalist.
Yeah.
A venture capitalist is one who funds ideas, and hopefully these ideas turn into profitable businesses in the future. And I mean, let's just talk about the elephant in the room. We are in the widest major city in America.
Yeah.
Being a Latino man, self-proclaimed Latino man.
Shout out Latinos.
Let's get into the real talk. There is economy of it is that a lot of people haven't had that chance to really build their business. They've been stifled by the banking system.
Yeah.
And you're putting your efforts, I see you putting it all out on the line, whether it's Black Signal or Pitch Black.
Yeah.
You really getting community together to build a stronger foundation for minority-owned businesses. A lot of these businesses have often been looked over.
Yeah. I think oftentimes for these entrepreneurs, whether it be people of color or women, they just want to hear people that are in their corner and tell them that they're on the right track and that they'll figure it out and that we believe in you and that you can do it and you have all the right ingredients to be a super successful entrepreneur. And they don't hear that. And so, I hope that, our events here and there and get-togethers, people are able to find mentors and people that are in their corner. So when they are at that really tough point in time where they're deciding, do I keep that cushy, comfortable job or do I put it all on the line and start this crazy idea? They've got someone in their corner that's saying, yeah, maybe, let's do it. Yeah, I believe in you. You can do this.
Absolutely. Stephen Green is a key figure in my growth as an entrepreneur and building my own business. Back in the day, I remember when I first moved to Portland and I had this crazy idea of Lost in Portland. And people were saying, well, do you have an LLC? Like, have you established it as a business? Like, have you trademarked it at all? And I'm like, no. And I said, who do I talk to? And they sent me up to you at your Skyrise office, huge window, and I get to talk to you, and that was, 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And you may not know this, but through the work that you do, you've mentored me, and maybe not directly, but I've been able to see the work that you do, and it's a continual motivation, and a lot of the reason that this is established here today. So I want to thank you very much on a personal note.
Appreciate it, buddy. Appreciate it.
Stephen, for my audience who would love to reach out to you, my audience who has an idea, my audience who wants to see the city grow as individuals who want to build a business, how do they reach out to you?
You can find me on Twitter. It's probably the best way to get a hold of me. So I'm just PDX Stephen G. It's Stephen with a PH. On Twitter and just reach out. I think one of the great things about our small big city is that people are so approachable.
Yeah.
And it's not like a really big city where people aren't attainable or something like that. And people want to see you be successful. I don't want to go back into the brewing stuff, but some friends and I, we started a brewery here in town. And we had 3 local brewers help us do it. And I mean,
Yeah.
these were all of our competitors who showed us the ropes and said the things you should buy versus the things you should lease and the things you should pay attention to and not pay attention to. And again, I think that's really part of the fabric of the city that we chose to live in.
And I'm sorry we missed this. Stephen, your brewery is something different than most breweries around. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, so I'm one of the original founding board members of Oregon Public House, which is a not-for-profit brewery where we donate all of the profits from the brewery to local charities, and the people that come and buy food in the restaurant pick the charities that get the money. And so our slogan's Eat, Drink, Give, and every month a check gets written to the charities that we're supporting. And it was something that we founded out of the recession, where we understood that the first thing that people stopped doing was giving to charity. But one of the things that also happens in a recession is people drink more beer.
Yeah.
And we figured, man, there's got to be an opportunity here.
Totally.
And so, Oregon Public House was born from there, and we've been able to support, dozens of charities and give over $200,000 since we started.